Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be discussing the differences between Marker Jester and Marker Griffons. How they're different, how they're the same, which one's right for you, and if they're still worth it in 2025. And with that, we'll get into the main differences. So, the main differences between the Jester and the Griffon are that the dins on the Jesters go up to 16, whereas the dins on the Griffons only go up to 13. So that's the main difference why people are recommended Jesters over Griffons. There are a couple other little differences, like the Jesters have a bit more metal in them. These toe pieces are like a metal alloy, and these heel pieces have metal alloy down here too, but the top part is still plastic, whereas the Griffons have all plastic on the side and all plastic on these little toe wings. So that's really the main difference on paper. The Jesters being quite a bit heavier because of that metal construction, and the Griffons being quite a bit lighter because of the all-plastic composition. In my experience, they feel the same, they ride the same. There's not much difference when you're skiing either one. After skiing both of them for many years, I would only recommend the Jesters to skiers who are either heavier, just weigh more as a skier and you need that extra din, or to someone who is really charging out there, hitting big jumps, big cliffs, going fast, and really wants to stay in that binding. The Jesters with that higher din, if you need it, then I would go with the Jesters. But if you don't need it, there's really no benefits to passing up the Griffons. The Griffons do just about everything that the Jesters do in a lighter package, which is a lot nicer in my opinion. It just makes everything easier, and you don't want that extra weight. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, okay, well, there's extra metal in the Jesters, so they'll be more durable. But I'm here to tell you that that's only somewhat true. And it's only somewhat true because of the other plastic pieces they use. So on the Griffons and the Jesters, they both have this plastic toe wheel, which does wear out at roughly the same rate, in my opinion. And it also has this plastic rail that it sits on. And this plastic rail allows it to get some play in the heel. And it doesn't matter if it's plastic or metal, they both do wear out in roughly around the same amount of time because this plastic plate wears out. So, are they more durable? Yes, I would say yes, they are, but only to a certain degree. Not a crazy amount, or not twice as much. I wouldn't even go as far as 1/3 as much, just because of the other plastic pieces that wear out at about the same time. Another major thing about the Jesters is, like I said, the weight. They are just pretty heavy, and I feel like that may even help wear out this track a little bit more. So they're slightly more durable, but not as much, and in my opinion, not worth it unless you really need that 16 din, or if you like the color scheme. I mean, the color scheme on this is a lot cooler. As you can see, I lost a lot of that color after using these for many years. But they definitely do look cooler. If you want that, it might be worth it. But overall, I think unless you're really charging hard, the Marker Griffons and the Marker Jesters are going to keep you in the binding just as well as one another. So I don't think there's any real advantages other than just the beefiness. If for your average skier, I would definitely recommend the Marker Griffons overall. They're just a much of the same performance with very little downsides. So, how do both of these bindings compare to other options? Well, I will go over that in other videos, which you can check out in the description below. I will be adding a link to the playlist where I have all of my binding and gear videos. So if you want to see my reviews of look pivots or my review of different bindings, I'm going to do these bindings versus look pivots, the 12s and the 15s, and one of this with the 12s and the 15s. And you can see how they stack up. But overall, you can't go wrong with either one of these bindings. They will work fine in 2025 for anything you do. And I think if you get them, you'll just set them and forget them and not worry about them. Are there better options out there? Possibly, but it just depends what you're looking for. The Marker Griffon, even though it's an all-plastic construction, is rather beefy and will hold up. This plastic is very thick, and I don't see it wearing out anytime soon. Whereas something like the Tyrolia Attacks do wear out a lot faster, in my opinion. Although they do hold up pretty well, but they're a bit lighter, a bit cheaper. For the price tag, I believe you can pick these up for $250 to $300 for the Griffons. I think that's a pretty fair price for what you're getting. And the Jesters, I believe, are $350 to $450 nowadays. I could be wrong, but they seem a bit more rare. I just don't think that extra $100 to $200 is worth it for the Jester over the Griffons, unless, like I said, you really need something that you can trust. So, in closing, I would really only recommend the Jesters to people that are going to be skiing very hard, doing large cliff drops, and hitting big features in the park. That I would definitely want the Griffons or the Jesters, just because the extra metal where it counts is less likely to break. Whereas these plastic ones may break faster under a lot of pressure, but I doubt it. They're just a well-made binding for what they are. So, with that, you can be the judge. I rode on these Marker Jesters for over 8 years, and they held up pretty well besides squaring of the wheels. So they are very beefy bindings, but I've also had other Griffons that I've had for less time, maybe 5 years, but they're still kicking too, and they're only seeing the same issues that the Jester had around the same time frame. So, my opinion, I don't think they're worth it, like I said, to pick them up unless you want the color scheme, you're a larger rider, a heavier rider that needs the extra din, or you're really charging hard and need the best thing that Marker has to keep you in the binding. And honestly, if you're charging that hard, you may just want to look at other bindings like look pivots or something else. But these will get it done. No problem. I have not had any issues with releasing on these or them not releasing. So it is a good binding and it will last you a long time. I would definitely recommend them. I think you put either one of these bindings on your ski, you're not going to have any problems and you're going to have a great time. So with that, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions you have about these bindings, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And check out the link in the description to see all my other videos on gear review, bindings, binding comparisons, and everything else. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys out on the mountain.